When I got married nearly 16 years ago, at the wedding reception, I asked some of the older and wiser folks who were attending for a few words of advice from their own relationships. And this is what I ask, like, anyone who has been married for 10 plus years and is still happy in their relationships, like, what lessons would you pass down to others if you could? Like, what is working for you and your partner, and also to people who are divorced, what didn't work previously? And the answers came from well spoken people from all walks of life, from, like, each with their own histories, tragedies, mistakes, and also triumph. And yet, they were all saying pretty much the same dozen things. Okay? And just like everything else in life, relationships require effort, hard work, attention, consistency, or maybe a consistent nurturing in order to flourish in the ways we want them to. So, how do we make sure we're doing this? Now, ultimately, the goal is to be in a happy and healthy relationship with the person that you feel is right for you, isn't it? And there are a few things that we need to do that is going to help us have a good relationship. Now, remember, no relationship can survive without trust, and that's a fact. Trust is something gained over time as couples slowly allow their partner into their lives. So, for those starting out in a new relationship, just take your time and only give small bite sized pieces about who you are. And it allows you to build trust at a pace you're comfortable with. And if your relationship doesn't work out, it doesn't leave you like feeling too exposed. Okay? And trust is, it's a mutual process that is built over time, but certain situations in a couple's life can erode the trust they've built up, from financial decisions to jealousy. Like, if the couple has different opinions about the situation, or their actions conflict with their partner's perception of the circumstances, then this can lead their partner to trust individuals outside the relationship. Okay, so trust building is a lifelong activity requiring open communication and the willingness to be vulnerable. All right, now, in a relationship, compromise is key. Relationships are 80% compatibility and 20% is other stuff. And that other stuff could be anything from differences of opinion and different love language to how you handle whatever life may throw at you as a couple. And compromise is, like, compromise from both partners is very important. If only one of you continually compromises in the relationship, I think the non technical term for this is being a doormat, and it can soon lead to resentment. And it is understandable that having a partner who has convictions, who has passion about something they believe in, can be appealing. But if it becomes overbearing, it's going to break the relationship. Okay, so make sure it's both sides, right? Because our thought process shouldn't be about being right or being wrong, but allowing our partner to appreciate our thoughts, to appreciate our beliefs without the expectations of having to endorse them. Okay, and compromise can be a tricky balancing act, and without both partners openly involved, it could lead to one partner being dominated, and you don't want that. All right, and it's very important to be like, emotional honesty is like a must. whether you are new to the dating scene after getting over a breakup, you've come out of a long-term relationship, or you're currently in a successful one, being emotionally honest with yourself and with your partner is really tough. Okay, so just make sure you never take your partner for granted. It's very important to realize that everyone has a breaking point, and if their needs are not met, or they don't feel seen, they don't feel understood, they don't feel heard by the other, they will more likely find it somewhere else. All right, so it's important to make your partner feel respected, feel appreciated, feel valued. Okay, and the second thing is you need to be as kind to each other as you were the day you met, by refraining from constant criticism and instead opting in for positive reinforcement. Like couples, they reduce the risk of growing to dislike each other. Plus, even the smallest of compliments or gestures are a great way to show your love for each other. So each time, just compliment, praise your husband, praise your wife for whatever she's doing, and make sure you're both meeting your partner's needs. Like loving relationships, it's like a process by which we get our needs met and meet the needs of our partners too. So when that exchange is mutually satisfying, then good feelings continue to flow. And when it's not, then things turn out sour and the relationship breaks, it ends. Okay, so you are uh, make sure you're doing that. Okay, and argue about one thing at a time only. Like you just fight about one issue at a time. Rounding up all of each other's mistakes gets you nowhere. Thinking about the past, continuing to go about the past, and although this one is a really tough one to execute, it is really worth it. It makes it much easier to actually resolve a fight instead of going back to your past. Your mom, your dad was like this, or you grew up in this kind of family, so you're supposed to be like this. So just stop it and look for opportunities to say thank you, because gratitude is a secret to a happy life. Just take notice of moments when your partner does something, even remotely selfless and kind for you. Just thank them for it and acknowledge things that they wouldn't expect you to point out. It's very important. Anything that they do, just say thank you, and it's going to encourage them, empower them to do more. Okay, and don't answer to anyone but each other. Worrying a lot about what other people think can be very destructive to a relationship. So instead of considering what the people around you want for you, just jot down what you want from each other and from your lives, and remind each other that you are the only ones to answer to at the end of the day. People might say lots of things, but you are the one who are living with each other. So you need to make sure that you are kind to each other. Okay? And it's very important also to share, or maybe to create a shared goals calendar. It's important to envision like achieving or doing something as a unit to keep your bond strong, and thus create a calendar for financial, for travel, for hobby goals, and this helps you see yourself together in the future, and it reminds you to support one another. And there is no doubt about the fact that happiness is necessary to live a healthy, fulfilling, and satisfying life. There's been a study found that the degree to which disease disrupts daily functioning is associated with reduced happiness. In fact, happiness can also reduce your risk of, like for cardiovascular disease, it also lowers your blood pressure, it helps It enables you to better sleep. It improves your diet. It allows you to maintain like normal body weight through regular exercise. It helps to reduce like stress, anxiety, overthinking. So think about that, okay? And do not give anyone the authority to make you feel as though you're not good enough, because that's not true. You need to embrace who you are, and others will too. They will feel that vibration that you are in, that frequency that you're in, and they're going uh, to to treat you the same way. And understand that no one is perfect, not even you. So just get over this internal pressure to be number one of everything every time. And the sooner you do this, the sooner you will be able to accept your weaknesses, your flaws, your imperfections, and yourself. And it's going to make you happy. Okay? And also try to surround yourself with optimistic people who will support you in both good and bad times. So when you have proper support, you get the courage to take on the world. Okay? So it's very important to be with people who empowers you, who really make like tell you about the good side and also the bad side, okay? And it's very important, one aspect that I forgot, take some time off work. The importance of things that matter, and just really focus on them, because sometimes you'll find yourself that you're at work, you don't have enough time for your family, okay? And it's talk about something that is important in your life, and you should like allow yourself to have deep conversations with your partner, with others, and you will be able to form like stronger and lasting relationships if you open up to your close ones, right? And give your time, give your energy to something bigger than yourself, because you are suited for a humanitarian, like something like a humanitarian project, which is going to allow you to flaunt your biggest asset, that is your heart, and is going to help you find pride in your loving, in your generous spirit. So it's very important that we do something that is going to bring value to other people. And even though you are the balanced one, try to find balance in every aspect of your life. Don't over dedicate yourself to one way of thinking or one particular way. Just make sure that you schedule a time to relax and you hang out with your friends, and make sure that you have your friends, you have your families, you have your close ones who are around with you, especially people uh, who makes you feel good, okay? And don't let your worry about the future, because it's going to ruin your present. Just try to live in the present, in the moment, and take one day at a time. This is going to help you, and it's going to lighten up, and it's very important to enjoy where you are right now. And one important thing, you can be very argumentative sometimes. However, just try having a calm conversation before you get confrontational, because this is going to allow you to avoid the drama, because you're going to put yourself into that drama victim mode, and the other person is going to do that. So try to stop the drama, okay? Because it's going to help you. If you have a tendency to hold grudges, even some that are very old, stuck in the past, though you may not realize it, carrying this weight creates issues in your personal relationships. So you need to learn to forgive and forget. I know it's difficult to forget, at least you can forgive, okay? And you don't need to be in a committed relationship to be happy. The only relationship that matters is that matters the most is the one between you, between your mind, between your soul, and it can be the most passionate, the most loving and wild relationship of your life. So just try to try to stop people pleaser. Stop being a people pleaser. Focus on your happiness. The moment You let go of the need to make others happy. You will feel like others are finally respecting you. So learning to say no and express your opinion freely will boost your confidence. Okay? And also realizing what you want, what you need in a relationship is very hard. Being brave enough to convey this to your partner is harder, as you may not know how they will react. But as we evolve, both as an individual and a partnership, these wants and these needs will change over time. So, our past experiences and current environment will play a big part in this sport process, with everyday challenges exacerbating the stress triggers. And this is obviously not a first date conversation, but when you reach the point where things are becoming a little more serious, you need to become more honest about what you want from the relationship. But remember, there are two of you in this relationship, so you will also need to listen openly to your partners, like especially to your partner's emotional needs. Okay, so emotional honesty is very important, and accepting yourself as you are. And sometimes, you need to say what you have from your heart, and be respectful, be considerate to each other, as we all have baggage, we all have past experiences that we bring with us to each other. And the truth is, if you conceal your emotional reality, if you hide it, it will add pressure to your relationship, especially in stressful life challenges such as moving home, changing jobs, having families, or the loss of a loved one. So covering up the cracks in your relationship can be just as harmful as being honest with each other, if not more so. And but whatever you do, be honest first with yourself, and you'll be able to be honest with others. And also, when you're in a relationship, be together for the right reasons. Before we even get into what we should or what you should do in your relationship, let's start with what not to do. Okay? Don't ever be with someone because someone else has pressured you to. I know few people who are not happy who got married the first time because they were raised in a specific religion, and that's what they were supposed to do. This is what they knew because they've been programmed to think the same way. So it's wrong. They got married. I know somebody who got married the second time because that person were miserable. They felt lonely and thought having a loving partner would fix everything for them. It's also wrong because it can take someone few tries to figure out what should have been obvious from the beginning. And the only reason you should ever be with the person you're with is because you simply love being around them. It really is that simple. Okay? And I did ask a few people who were on their second or third or fourth marriages, and what they did wrong the first few times was it's by far the most common answer was being with the person for the wrong reasons. So some of these wrong reasons included pressure from friends, from relatives, families, and the second one was feeling like a loser because they were single, they were settling for the first person that came along. And there's also being together for image because the relationship looked good on paper or in photos, not because the two people actually admired or respected each other. And there's also being young and naive and hopelessly in love and thinking that love would solve everything. Okay, so everything that makes a relationship work And by work, I mean that it is happy, that it is sustainable for both people involved, requires a genuine, deep level admiration for each other. And without that mutual admiration, everything else will unravel. Okay? And the other wrong reason to enter into a relationship is to fix yourself. I have seen lots of people say, when I get married, I'm going to get well. You know, this desire to use the love of someone else to calm, to soothe your own emotional problems inevitably leads to codependence. It leads to an unhealthy and also like damaging dynamic within the two people, where there exists an agreement to use each other's love as a distraction from one's own self hatred. Okay, so we'll get into that maybe later or in another video. But for now, it's useful to point out that love itself is neutral. It is something that can be both healthy or unhealthy, helpful or harmful, depending on how and why you love someone else and are loved by someone else. So each time that you feel that you are in the wrong relationship, just be